This is Ed Massiano with Inside Food and Wine. Today, what we're going to show you is how to make a hamburger, a medium rare hamburger. It's going to take 20 minutes. Now, if you don't have 20 minutes, then you can make a well-done burger or a raw burger or any other burger you'd like. However, I'm going to show you how to make a medium rare hamburger. It's going to take approximately 20 minutes. So here it goes. Okay, here is our 1/2 pound hamburger that is approximately 1 inch thick, just a tad under 1 inch. This is what it looks like after it's been out of the refrigerator for about 2 hours. What you see there is water. It is not blood. So don't get excited when you see redness coming out of meat because all the animals have been bled. There's no blood here. We set our temperature at the lowest possible setting on the stove. Okay, it's been 10 minutes now, and we're ready to flip it over. Now this is the hard part because we don't know exactly how long it's going to take. You see that sponginess there? That means the bottom isn't cooked yet. But after 10 minutes, we test it again, and look at this. It's firm, but it's got a little sponginess to it. So it's time to take it off the grill. Put it on a plate, and there you have your perfectly cooked, medium rare hamburger. 20 minutes, but you want it any worse than that? I don't think so. Okay, so what did you learn? Or did you say you learned how to make a perfect hamburger in 20 minutes? No, you learned how I made a perfect hamburger in 20 minutes. You see, the issue here, and one thing you really have to understand, is that I was using my equipment on my stove, and it wasn't your equipment on your stove. So in order for you to actually learn how to do this, you're going to have to experiment with your equipment. I can't tell you how to use your equipment. Only you can figure that out. Now, I use a cast iron skillet because it's very reliable. It holds the heat. They're all basically about the same. But are all burners the same on stoves? No. My low may be lower than your low, or maybe higher than your low. So you have to experiment. I start out with the absolute lowest setting. And then when I get to the point where I touch it and it doesn't spring back as much, it's where I want it. Now, if you want to cook more, you're going to have to experiment on your own. You're better off undercooking than overcooking, and keep track of the time. The time is very, very important. In our demonstration, I said 20 minutes, but to tell you the truth, it only took about 16. At 16 minutes is where I got what I showed you. Now, the fact is, only by touching it and pressing down on it are you going to be able to determine that. I did get a lot of comments from people that talked about touching your food. Well, sorry guys, but if you ever worked in a restaurant, and I have, everybody touches the food. That's how you figure it out. You can use a thermometer, but in a hamburger, a thermometer is not going to do you any good whatsoever. It's just not a big enough piece of meat to give you an accurate reading. So you're going to have to use this. All right. Now, one last thing that I can't stress enough. And you're reading these recipes that tell you how to cook a roast by telling you how many minutes per pound. The first thing you do is you throw the recipe away because it is worthless. You cannot cook based on weight. You have to cook based on size. Think about it. You got a roast this big and it's 4 pounds. And you got a roast this big and it's 4 pounds. Which one's going to cook faster? Yeah, this one. Because the heat's going to get to it quicker because it's got less to go through. So cooking by the pound is useless. I can't even begin to tell you how useless this is. Now, how do you know how long to cook it? Well, now that's a tough one because not all ovens are created the same, and certain spots in the oven are going to be a little warmer or a little cooler than others. When you cook at very low temperature, what happens is
The ambient temperature cooks the surface obviously first, and then little by little transfers the heat down to the center of the meat. Now, at very low temperature, like 200 or 180 degrees, the surface of that meat is only going to get so warm. It's never going to hit 180 degrees or 200 degrees or whatever the oven is set at. It's going to hit maybe 20 or 30% less than that, all right? But then the interior is going to start warming up faster. If you don't believe me, do this. Get a thermometer, put it in a very low temperature, and take the temperature of the meat every half hour. And tell me how the difference between the top, the middle, and the very middle change over time. What's going to happen is the top's going to heat up real fast. The inside is going to be whatever temperature you pulled it out at. And little by little, the inner temperature is going to warm faster than the outer temperature, but that's only at very low heat. So you can do it. It's not a big deal, but it's going to take practice, and you have to resolve yourself to that practice. Good luck.